Alright, for like weeks now, I've been excited about this stupid Kindle Fire. I don't know if I was just the uncool guy because I wasn't the one with a Kindle when I was hanging out in Bali. You know, I don't like to read that much, or at least I didn't like to read that much. Either way, I decided it's time for me to start reading, so what better way than to get a fancy new tablet, e-reader, or something to that effect. So I just went out and I got a Kindle Fire. I'm gonna open it up, we're gonna, play around with it, we're gonna see if it lives up to its high expectations and see if I wasted $199 or not. See, I don't know how I feel about this whole zip tie box opening thing, because now I feel like I can't turn it. I feel like I've already broken something. They need to work on that. That was just smart marketing on their part. There it is. Wow, this thing's more solid than I expected. Pretty substantial. Certainly lighter than an iPad, but, I don't feel like I'm gonna just immediately break it if I, were to drop it on the floor or something. Go figure. It's very simple. It's got a nice, rubber-y kind of back. You can see the Kindle embossed on it. I don't even know where a button is. Maybe that's a button? I think that's the only one. All I gotta say is I also better be able to find a way to get the Spotify app on here. If I have to go back to Pandora, I'm not gonna be very happy. Fancy. Looks kind of cool so far. I've now had the opportunity to play with my Kindle Fire for the last 15 minutes. I've got good news and bad news. The good news, Spotify. Found a workaround. Got that to work. That's very, very important. Bad news, I have yet to get any of my EPUB books to work. All the books I've got on my computer, they're all EPUB format. Apparently, Kindle, I've never owned a Kindle before. I mean, come on, I don't know this stuff. Doesn't recognize EPUB format books. I've got to try and figure out how to convert them. I don't know if that's possible. So far, my tests using Caliber have not worked very well. First impressions, it's the perfect size for me. It's smaller than an iPad, very comfortable to hold, easy to read. It works just like my Android phone for the most part. This big bookshelf thing, which this carousel thing, yeah, not such a fan. It's very easy to use. It took me a while to figure out where all this, menu settings were and everything. 10, 15 minutes of it, you're gonna have no trouble getting used to it. So there's definitely a few things I really like about the Kindle Fire. After reading some books, spending some time with it, I love the size. It's smaller than an iPad, it's not nearly as big and bulky. I don't feel like I'm gonna break it. The iPad's too pretty. I feel like I'm gonna drop it and break it every time I touch it. I'm really a fan of this 7-inch screen, which is definitely quite a bit smaller. Is quite a bit smaller than the iPad, but really like reading books on it. That's why I bought this thing. I wanted to read books. I'm not reading enough, so this is my excuse to go out and read more books. The Netflix app. Fantastic. Works just as well as it does on the iPad, just as well as it does on computer, or PS3, or Xbox, or Wii, or however you watch Netflix. It's fantastic. What sucks is Amazon Prime. Streaming movies, no good. So, I went through, I did a quick test. What do we have here? Speed 2. I know you guys all saw that a few years ago. It was like the third most expensive movie ever made at the time. It hasn't gotten any better, and neither have the rest of the movies on Amazon Prime. Stick with Netflix, not a huge deal. You get a free month for signing up, and if you do buy a lot of stuff from Netflix, then by all means, check it out. A few other things I don't really like. It has one button, right here. That's the on-off switch. Do you know how many times I'm sitting here reading it like this and I accidentally hit that? Way too many. Should have been a button right here, or right up here. If you want to write a screenplay, or create a bunch of music, or mind map a bunch of stuff, then go buy an iPad. You're not going to use this. But for me, that's what a computer's for. This is for reading, for consuming materials. This is for when I'm hanging out on an airplane or a train and I need something to do. This thing's going to be perfect. If you go in with that mindset, you don't expect anything more than that, you're going to be very, very happy with your purchase. All these people that are saying it's not an iPad competitor, I don't believe them. I bought this over an iPad. I basically looked at the two of them and said, which one am I going to buy? And I went with this one. And I couldn't be happier. I think this can be perfect.